The ghost train. The driver saw it last night. Where? Asked Thomas and Toby. He didn't say. Oh, it makes my wheels wobble to think of it. Said Thomas. You're just a silly little engine. I'm not scared. Thomas didn't believe in your ghost, said Percy next morning. His driver laughed. Neither do I. It was only a pretend ghost story. Percy was disappointed. That evening he came back from the harbor. Percy knew where he was, even in the dark. Crow's Farm Crossing. Can't be long now. The rails hung and the single light shone. But a broken cartload of lime lay ahead. Sam the farmer had just gone for help. Percy broke the cart to smithereens. Lime flew everywhere. He puffed quickly to the nearest signal box. Percy's driver explained what had happened. I'll see to it, said the signalman. But you better clean Percy, or people will think he's a ghost. Percy chuckled. Do let's pretend I'm a ghost and scare Thomas. That'll teach him to say I'm a silly little engine. Toby promised to help. Thomas was being oiled up for his evening train. Percy's had an accident, cried Toby. Poor engine, said Thomas. Botheration. That means I'll be late. They've cleared the line for you, but there's something worse. Out with it, Toby. I can't wait all evening. I've just seen something, said Toby. It looked like Percy's ghost. It said it was coming here to warn us. Look, who cares? Don't be frightened, Toby. I'll take care of you. Wailed Percy. No, not by the smoke on my chimney, chim. I'll jump and I'll break your door in. Oh dear, exclaimed Thomas. It's getting late. Oh, I've no idea. Oh, I must find Annie and Clara. It was morning when Thomas returned. Where have you been? Asked Toby. Well, said Thomas, I knew you'd be sad about Percy, and I didn't like to intrude. I slept in the freight ship. Oh, can't stop. Gotta see a coach about a train. Percy was none the worse for his coach, and was still enjoying himself enormously. He had heard everything. Well, what do you know about that? Anyone would think, chuckled Toby, that our Thomas had just seen a ghost. Thomas and Percy are good friends, but sometimes Percy teases Thomas on being frightened. He doesn't like that at all. One evening he was dozing happily, but Percy wanted to talk. Wake up, Thomas. Are you dreaming about the time you thought I was a ghost? Certainly not. Anyway, I was only pretending to be scared. I knew it was you, really. Percy went on teasing him. I hope the guard leaves the light on for you tonight. Why? Asked Thomas. I quite like the dark. Oh, really? Exclaimed Percy. I am surprised. I always thought you were afraid of the dark. I wonder why. Thomas decided to say nothing and went to sleep instead. Next day, Sir Topham Hatt came to see him. I would like you to go to the harbor tonight. You have to collect something rather unusual. What sort of something? Asked Thomas. Wait and see, replied Sir Topham Hatt. Meanwhile, Percy was moving freight cars into a silent. Henry arrived in his goods train. The signalman changed the switches and Percy waited on the side as Henry steamed by. Then there was trouble. The switches are called the signalman. I can't switch them back for Percy. The workmen will have to mend them in the morning. It's too late now. Said Percy's driver. I'm sorry, Percy, but you'll have to stay here for the night. Where are you going? Asked Percy. Home for tea, replied the fireman. Percy was speechless. He watched as the other engines went home to the shed. Nighttime came and Percy began to feel very lonely. Oh dear, he murmured. It's very dark. Oh, what's that? It was only an owl, but Percy didn't realize it. Oh, I wish Thomas were here too, he sighed. Thomas was waiting for his mysterious load at the harbor. Suddenly, there it was. Cinders and ashes, cried Thomas. It's a dragon. Don't worry, laughed his driver. This dragon is made of paper. It's for the carnival tomorrow. Workmen lifted the dragon onto Thomas's low loader and put lights all around it for protection. Then Thomas set off into the misty night. Percy was asleep on his siding and had no idea that Thomas was approaching him. Percy woke up with a start. Help! Cried Percy. I'm not going to open my eyes until my driver comes. Driver comes! Next morning, the switches were mended and Percy puffed after the judge. Gordon was just about to leave with the express. You'll never guess what I saw last night. Gordon was in no mood for Percy. Busy engine. I don't have time for your game. I've seen a huge dragon. It was covered in lights. Gordon snorted. You've been in the sun too long. Your dome has cracked. When the other engines heard the news, they laughed too. Look out, Percy, chuckled James, or the dragon may gobble you up. No one believes me, puffed Percy. Maybe I did imagine a dragon after all. But Percy soon found out that he hadn't. Help! Save me! Cried Percy. It's all right, whistled Thomas, and he explained about the carnival. By the way, how was your night out? Percy decided to tell Thomas the truth. Well, Percy, said Thomas, maybe we do get scared sometimes, but if we're not afraid to tell each other, then that means we're quite brave, too. It was a moonlit night. Henry was taking a goods train to the station by the lake.
Whenever that owl hoots, a mist rolls in, murmured Edward. There's a legend that when the mist's about, there's a ghost about too. Take care on the old line, Henry. Stupid bird, said Henry. Owls, mist, ghosts. Edward's going soft with the boiler. There's no mist. But Henry was wrong. What's that? Cried Henry. It's an amber lamp, murmured his driver. That means proceed with caution. Who's there? No one replied. Henry crept slowly forward. He stopped by a tree that had a sign nailed to it, "Beware of the viaduct." The driver was surprised. No one warned us about that before. And look, the signal's red. And the gates are closed. And there's a fogman's coat. But where is its owner? Then they saw a light move within the station building. The ghost! Exclaimed Henry. Edward was right. Something very strange is happening, said his driver. I think it's best we go back. So do I, agreed Henry. By morning, the mist had cleared. A workman was talking about the unsafe viaduct. Lucky you didn't cross it last night. Yes, but we don't know who warned us, replied Henry's driver. Later that day, he spoke to Henry. The viaduct has been repaired. We can take our train back along the old line tonight. Henry really didn't want to. But when nightfall came, he was sizzling nicely. Suddenly, an owl hooted. Oh, look, Henry's spooked, said a freight car. Be quiet, snapped Henry. I'm not scared. But he was. A little later, the fog came down. As they approached the same area, they saw the amber light again. Here we go, said Henry's driver. Then, unknown to Henry, the gates mysteriously closed by themselves, and the signal went red. The freight cars had seen everything, and they were spooked. Faster, faster, there's a ghost about. Stop, stop, yelled Henry. A mysterious figure watched Henry go by. It was a landslide blocking the line. Henry braked hard, but the freight cars hit some of the rubble and plunged into the ravine. Just then, Henry's driver saw a strange sight coming towards them. What's that? He said. The fireman laughed. That's our ghost. It's Old Bailey, the fogman. Old Bailey was very cross. I tried to warn you about the viaduct. Why didn't you pay attention? We're sorry, replied the driver. Is there anything we can do to thank you? I'd like to operate that old station. If you let me, I promise I won't spook Henry again. And in a little while, Old Bailey's wish was granted. You and your station will be really useful, said Sir Topham Hatt. Let's hear a hearty thank you to the friendliest, ghost on the island. Everyone cheered, especially Henry, who was the happiest of all. broken branches. Peter, Sam, and Rusty often worked together. One day, Rusty helped Peter Sam to a water tower. Peter Sam felt much better after his long drink, but the freight cars were bored. Let's break away. Their loads were heavy, and the couplings old. One snapped. A sign read slow steep bends and ravine ahead. Then, it was too late. Peter Sam arrived at the scene of the disaster. His driver sighed. This was our fault. We didn't secure them properly. We'll have to get help to pull them out. So Tom and Matt will be very annoyed. And he was. You will work in the yards until I can trust you again. Duncan was delighted with Peter Sam's dilemma.
Fancy not securing your freight cars on the hill. They'll come back to spook you and your special funnel.
Woo! And who's to say you're not afraid of ghosts? Snapped Rusty.
Ghosts. Things that go bump in the night. Rubbish.
Well, I'll tell you a story that will make your funnel quiver, Rusty said. A long time ago, a little engine was returning home. It was a misty, moonlit night. Suddenly, the engine lost control and plunged over the side into the swamps below. He was never found again. But many a workman will tell you that when the moon is full, they have seen the little engine trying to get home. But he never reaches the other side. So what do you think of that, Duncan?
Rubbish, replied Duncan.
Never mind him, Peter Sam. He'd be frightened if he really saw a ghost. This gave Peter Sam's driver an idea. Let's play a trick on Duncan. The next day he spoke to Duncan's driver and fireman, who agreed. We'll do it tonight. Duncan had to take coal cars to the slate mines, and then bring cars back. Duncan's driver decided as part of the plan to cross the old iron bridge.
Haunted bridge. Rubbish.
Story. But all the same, he kept thinking about Rusty's story. When dusk fell, he was keen to leave.
If we don't go now, Scarlo, we will take my favorite place in the sheds.
We have to collect our cars first, his driver replied. You could see their plan was working because Duncan was nervous. When night fell, they set off. Mists were rising around the old iron bridge. Duncan whistled, and the sound echoed everywhere. Then, ahead, he saw flickering lights. His driver knew they were only insects that shine brightly at night, but to Duncan they looked like an engine. Next, his driver secretly threw a rock from the cab into the ravine below.
It's the ghost! Take me back! Take me back, please!
When Duncan reached the safety of his shed, he closed his eyes tightly. Spooked, are you, Duncan? Laughed his driver.
No, I'm asleep.